If you're thinking about starting a Turo business or expanding your fleet, please stop guessing what type of cars to buy. So I've had over 100 different vehicles bought, purchased, and rented on Turo. So I've rented almost every single type of category of cars, from economy to some luxury to SUVs to sedans. And in this video, I'm going to break down what type of cars perform the best to make sure you get the highest return on your investment. In this video, we're also going to break down which cars I personally bought in my fleet and how well they're doing, which vehicles I've noticed have the lowest maintenance, so I've had the highest ROI with the least headaches. We're also going to go over some of my biggest mistakes of buying cars, which I've learned a lot over the last 5 years doing this full time. We're going to go through some real stories, some real numbers with clients that we've had, and the numbers of our actual fleet, and then we're going to get into some of the actual earnings of these cars. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you know how to choose the right car for your market, and we'll show you how we do it ourselves. Hey guys, my name is George Madden, and I'm the #1 Turo host in all of Pittsburgh with over 55 cars, and here at Car Rental Coach, we have helped hundreds of clients from all around the world start and scale their car rental business without the use of fancy vehicles, gimmicks, or just downright lies a lot of these other gurus go through. And one important thing that I've learned from helping hundreds of clients worldwide with the car rental business is just because something works in my market, it doesn't mean it's going to work in yours. A lot of the cases show me that cars are very reliant on the demographic and area that they're put in. So that is why market research is so important. Sure, there's certain brands and cars, years, makes, and models that I know are going to perform well on a maintenance side and reliability, but doesn't mean they're going to rent in your area just because they rent in mine. That's why we work with every single client one-on-one to figure out the best cars to go in their area specifically. All right, and if you've watched any of my videos before, but if you're new to this channel, you might not know I love economy cars. So economy cars are the unsung heroes. You'll see a lot of people talk about renting out Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and if they figure out a way to make it profitable or more profitable than economy cars, then sure, I would be down to take a listen to them and dig a little bit deeper into it. But so far, after working with hundreds of clients in almost every single state in the United States, as well as Canada and some other countries, we've seen that there is no higher ROI than economy vehicles. So I'm actually going to go into my own fleet here and show you my Turo account to show you the type of earnings that we're getting on some of our economy cars. But let's just go over a quick recap on what makes economy cars so great. So number one, economy cars are super fuel efficient. So what's nice about economy cars being fuel efficient, a lot of people renting the cars, I've found out that fuel cost is one of their #1 concerns when renting a vehicle. We have a lot of people that are doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber driving, and guess what? Fuel is one of their biggest expenses besides the actual cost of renting the car to make sure that they become profitable at the end of the day. And let me tell you, people don't care about delivering your McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, or hey, even Chipotle, which I love, to your house in style. They want to make the most money possible. They're putting an entire day's work into this, and Uber drivers, DoorDash drivers, Uber Eats, they're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on gas a week, if not thousands a month. So you really got to be conscious of your demographic. And then we also get a lot of people that, surprisingly or not, that are traveling and they still care about fuel and the actual just cost of the car. They don't want to rent something extremely luxury. As long as that can fit their family in them when they're traveling, that's good enough a lot of the time. They're not looking for the fanciest cars. Sure, there is a demographic for that. A lot of business professionals flying in, and maybe more affluent families, but when you're looking at your average consumer, the economy car fits the bill for that as well. So I said the fuel efficiency, obviously that's a huge part of it. But as a host, what else really makes economy cars great? Well, I'll tell you, insurance. So with the type of vehicles we buy, we're able to get very reasonable insurance prices. I'm talking between $60 to $100 a month per car for off-rental insurance. So that's when the car is actually not on a rental trip. And then we have a variety of partners we work with for private rental insurance too. And let me tell you what, it is a lot cheaper to get insurance for a private rental for an economy car than if you want to talk something luxury. If you want to mess around in the luxury market when it comes to private rentals, sometimes they require you to have hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not even a few million, depending on the type of fleet and cars you have, and a bank account just on reserve that you can't even touch just so they'll actually insure you. Because when you're renting these supercars that are over even $1 million, the liability is insane. And let's face it, if you're going to go rent a Lamborghini on vacation, or let's say a Ferrari, something in that neck of the woods, how do you think that people are going to treat these vehicles? Do you think they're going to treat them great, or do you think they're going to want to get their money's worth and burn some rubber? Well, of course they are. They're renting a supercar. They're not using that to drive it around like it's a Toyota Corolla. So keep that in mind. So if you want to get into the private rentals of like high-end cars, and when I'm talking high-end cars, I'm talking more supercars. I'm not speaking about, say, BMWs and Mercedes, not that they don't have very nice models that are hundreds of thousands of dollars of those cars, but I'm talking more of the 250 plus when it comes to the luxury, because I will still personally rent some Mercedes, BMWs, but as far as the supercars go, you want to make sure you have a lot of capital before you even ever touch into that. But that's what makes economy cars so great, cheap to insure, and also very easy to get private rental insurance too, which I work with hundreds of clients, and once we get them started on Turo, which Turo is great, I have a lot of vehicles on Turo and recommend it for a lot of reasons. Private rentals can also make sense too, depending on your setup, how you want to do it, and your goals as a business owner. I do a combination of both. I would never do private rentals if it came to the exotic or luxury market, just because it's too expensive, and also I am in the Pittsburgh area, which Pittsburgh's more of a blue-collar town. It is not your place to rent a Lamborghini, because if you do, you'll probably run over a pothole and cause thousands of dollars worth of damage. So don't recommend driving that around, especially with the condition of the streets in our city. And let's talk about the third thing. So sure, getting a car that's economy might come with some more maintenance costs if you're buying it older, but let me tell you this, the maintenance costs on a Hyundai Elantra or a Toyota Corolla or something like that doesn't come close to a supercar. I've seen so many people go bankrupt because they don't understand the actual cost of maintenance when you're talking about these high-end cars. I've even had people that didn't forecast correctly when it comes to, like, let's say, nothing too fancy, but let's say just like a BMW X5. Let's say they got it for $50,000. They don't even realize that the insurance that they have to get's more expensive. The actual oil changes, tires, anything mechanically wrong, a lot of the time you actually have to take to a dealership that specializes in those type of cars. So let's say you're not talking like super high end. You're not getting a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but let's say a BMW X5. Well, with the newer and newer models, I talk to a lot of mechanics from being in the car industry and having a lot of friends and family in the car industry too. And they hate the newer imports that are more expensive because a lot of the times they design them so they can't actually work on them and fix them. They'll have to take these vehicles and take them to the actual dealership, because BMW is smart, right? They're trying to make this a reoccurring thing when it comes to maintenance. So now you buy the car one time and now they have you in a subscription for life. Because if you can't take it to your local mom and pop mechanic that gives you good deals and helps you when it comes to your repairs, you have to take it to the dealership. And the dealership spares no expense when fixing your car, and they're going to charge you the highest and highest of dollar they can. And that's another reason I like to stay away from these cars. I like to actually be able to have a workforce and mechanics that I know personally that can fix my vehicles. And if they need a special tool that only BMW has, well, it's not going to work and it's going to cut into your profits dramatically. And as you know, me being in this business, I am about my return on investment. I do not care about how I look driving around a Mitsubishi Mirage or a Hyundai Elantra, taking it to the wash, getting it ready for guests. I want to make the most money possible to keep growing and expanding this fleet to live the lifestyle I want, which is freedom. And then people ask, well, how much can these economy cars make, right? So really, it depends on your market, but I've seen from $35 to $75 a day, seeing a bunch of different markets in the United States. But my rule of thumb is your car should be at least making $1,000 a month, even when it's economy cars that are around $10,000, which is an amazing return on investment if you buy the car correct. All right, guys, and like I said, we're going to actually go into my Turo account here. So you can see that this is for 2025 so far. Remember, I do private rentals too. And we did have a lot of cars on HireCar and some other platforms, so we're transitioning. So these numbers are actually a little bit lower than they should be because they're not including our private rentals too, which we have a lot out. But you can see in 2025 so far, we've already done over $105,000 on Turo, and we're only in April right now. But this doesn't really show you anything. That's just revenue. As you can see, pretty average. I mean, it fluctuates based on time of year. It's starting to pick up here again. But usually I'm pretty consistent. I'll show you 2024 just to show you what I mean. Sometimes cars are on private rentals that affect this, or this car's down for damage claims, anything like this. But this was 2024 just on Turo. You can see we're pretty consistent. That's what's nice about the economy market. They always stay very, very consistent compared to a lot of others that fluctuate depending on summer months, because people need these cars to get around. But let's show you guys just 2025 so far, so I can give you an example of how well economy cars actually do. So we see right here, we have a Mitsubishi Mirage 2024. This is my top earner for 2025, believe it or not, so far. I'm actually really surprised. This thing's brought in $7,536.79. That is actually pretty absurd. I've had no maintenance costs with this or anything. And this car was $6,000, so it's already made back its money, and we're only a quarter way through the year. And that's why I tell you guys, economy cars can perform extremely well. It's just about keeping them on the road. But then we have one of my more expensive cars, the Ford Explorer 2022. So these are around like $40,000 cars or SUVs. And you're probably thinking, oh, I thought you only buy economy. Well, majority, I'd say 80% of my fleet is economy, but I will like to sprinkle in some nicer vehicles too, just to diversify. So you can see that's done over $5,000 so far this year, which is actually still very, very good earnings. It's got a lot of trip money I'm owed. It's done well on insurance claims, but still for the price of that car, it's probably 4 times the price of this Mirage. So that just gives you an idea on what cars work the best, but I still believe in diversification, especially when you get to a fleet the size of mine. Then you can see we have the Mitsubishi Sport Outlander. That's brought in around 5 already for the year. Then you see the other Ford Explorers, liked them so much I got them in 3 colors. And then a Chevy Malibu 2013 at MS5, another Mitsubishi Mirage, Kia Fortes, Nissan Versas, Nissan Sentra. Still, I know I say not to rent these Nissan Sentras, and I won't really buy them unless I get them at great prices, but they do perform very well because of gas. Then I'll show you guys just 2024 real quick without going through every single car. But I just want to show you guys that renting these economy cars can produce some pretty amazing results. And you can see that Malibu that was still doing well this year is killing it. So I'm going to be buying some more Malibus, and we have a few clients that work with us at Car Rental Coach that we were able to source these for like 15 to 20% under market value, which was huge. But again, guys, Hyundai Elantra, Chevrolet Malibu, the Explorers, Kia Souls, Chevrolet Equinox, 2013 too, and it's doing these type of numbers. So I want to show you that this is real, what I'm talking about. These cars actually do perform this well. Okay, so just to show you guys those examples like I just walked through, we have Hyundai Elantra is killing it, Kia Soul is killing it, Mitsubishi Mirage is killing it, 2013 Chevrolet Equinox is killing it. And guys, you've seen how well all of those cars do. You know, and what I've seen that is every single area that I've worked with, there are economy cars that will do well. They're going to provide a great ROI. You just have to know which ones to pick because there are a lot of different ones. And here's some common mistakes though that I've seen clients and then just people that come to us and discuss this stuff all the time. And I've talked to even other Turo hosted events, the problems that they have. So one, they're buying vehicles without looking at the service history on it. Do not skimp out on getting a Carfax report. I know it costs money and then doing a background search on the car. You do not want to buy a high maintenance vehicle to find out that it has extreme problems with it in the future, and then you go to look at the maintenance report on it and you see that there were no oil changes, it was never serviced. Well, what are you expecting? You're buying a car with just a completely bad history. It doesn't make any sense. That's why those records are so important. Do not go off just the word of somebody that you meet on Facebook Marketplace or even a used car dealership. Everybody's trying to make money and you have to make sure that you protect yourself and get the best deal possible. Another thing, if you are in a very competitive city, realize you're not gonna be able to charge top dollar for your car. So make sure you're buying the car with that in mind. Don't go out and buy, say, just a brand new 2024 Escalade and then expect that you're gonna get that $200 a day that you need to make your payment and to actually make it make sense with a profit. You're probably not. So really look at your market, look at the pricing, and realize that there's only certain cars you're going to be able to buy that are going to make you this type of ROI. And never underestimate cleanliness, customer service, and just speedy service. So we put all of our vehicles on just a 1-hour trip notice, so we have them ready to go all the time. At the time of this video, we're currently doing 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. 7 days a week. That's our hours of operation, and having that availability is a big difference, especially when you're competing with the big dogs like Enterprise and those guys. If they're not open, guess who is? I am, and I'm not too far from the airport, so people go with me. Having that availability is huge in growing this business. And guys, remember, what works in my market might not work in yours. Turo is extremely market sensitive. Some cities reward SUVs, others are all about hybrids, and some really only succeed when it's an airport-friendly vehicle or if they have the right budget options. That's why we work with you one-on-one with our strategy to help new hosts and existing hosts scale their Turo business and help them do a market analysis to helping them get funding and growing their business from zero. Sometimes we've helped clients up to 50 vehicles. So go to carrentalcoach.com, take our 60-second survey, fill it out. We're going to look at your market. We're going to see if these cars work for you. And then if you qualify to work with us, we'll give you a call. We'll work with you one-on-one, and you'll actually schedule a call with us to build and scale your car rental business. So this is only for people that are serious about making money and a good ROI on Turo or private rentals. But work with us at carrentalcoach.com, and I'll be happy to see you there. Okay, so I've talked about Mitsubishi Mirages, Nissan Sentras. Now let's talk about some stuff that's a little bit more mid-size, like your Chevrolet Malibus, things like that. A little bit of leg room for all of you that are over 6 feet tall. I'm barely over 6 feet tall. I'm 6'1", but I like to make sure everybody knows. No, I'm kidding. But usually these cars versus like a Mitsubishi Mirage or like a Nissan Sentra, a Malibu, or like even a Sonata versus an Elantra. The Sonata is a little bit bigger for those who don't know. They usually rent for like $5 to $10 more a day, which isn't huge, but does add up. And if I can get the cars for around the same price, I'll always go with the one that's just a little bit bigger, but I still don't want to sacrifice fuel efficiency. And as you saw in that last video, the Mirage did the best, and that thing is like a go-kart driving it around. I personally hate driving them. I feel like contained, like almost like it's like a circus car, but people that want to save money on gas absolutely love them, and some people like the way they drive. I don't know, everybody's different. So some other benefits with the cars that are a little bit like mid-size, like I said, there's some more trunk space. They're better for families and road trips. Guests do seem to like them a little bit better as far as comfort, Bluetooth features. They usually have a little bit more get up and go, a little bit more powerful of an engine, usually handle a little bit better on bumpy roads. Just makes sense, the weight and size of the car, of course, is going to drive a little bit nicer. So I get those a little bit more than the really small ones, but again, guys, it really all depends on the price I'm able to source them at. If it's a good deal, it's a good deal, and I know I'm going to be able to get it rented and make a good return as long as I hit my certain metrics, which is the price, the year, the miles, and the year makes and models that I know aren't going to cost me a ton of money when it comes to issues down the line. And some more downsides to watch out for the midsize, similar to this compact, but you know, just brake wear, tires. Sometimes they can become a little bit more redundant. That seems to be the typical car most people buy. So a very small one like a Mirage or a Sentra might even be more rare than say like a Sonata or a Malibu. It seems more people have those as just like their personal cars because most people like something that's not the smallest, not the biggest. It's like the average American car. So there might be more in your market, and a lot of people that maybe buy these for personal use and then drive them around or rent them to make their payments. So really these are like mid-size ones, are like the Toyota of the Turo world, right? Where it's like reliable, redundant, safe option. Most people have seen them before, have them. They're gonna have an okay experience. So they're a pretty safe car class, I should say. All right, now let's get into my personal favorite. I wouldn't say my personal favorite to rent. I rent anything that makes money, but my personal favorite to drive, the SUVs. So when I'm talking SUVs, I'm talking Hyundai Santa Fe's, Chevrolet Equinoxes, Nissan Rogues, Mazda CX-5s, Ford Explorers, like I showed you before. Okay, so let's talk about why they dominate. One, they can fit families, so you get a lot of airport guests. Most of my airport guests are there to pick my larger vehicles. They're traveling with family. Remember, we're in Pittsburgh, so we actually do have a decent amount of people that will rent one of the Explorers, then let's say take it to Florida, or if you're from Pittsburgh or anywhere on the East Coast, I'm sure that you know that the Outer Banks is one of the biggest family vacation places ever. Everybody gets a beach house there, travels from the East Coast, goes there with their family. Have some great memories there myself, but even better memories now that I'm making money off other people. Like I said, families love them, airports love them. They're good for outdoor trips, snow regions, especially here in Pittsburgh. All-wheel drive vehicles are great. They do the best, especially during the winter times. And the daily rates, so these babies can go for like $65 to even $180 a day. And occupancy is still pretty high. Rent them out about 70 to 90% of the time. Downside, maintenance, a little bit more expensive, but again, we're not renting out BMW or Mercedes. We're renting out Fords and Chevys still, so it's not that bad, really. Just for example, so those Ford Explorers, those are the only cars in our fleet that are actually financed, but even financing them, they are making a great return on their investment, especially during the summer months. They're bringing in over like $2,500 a month a piece, so less cars to actually make more revenue, which is nice if you're ever stuck on, say, storage limitations. I know a lot of you guys are renting these cars from your house and don't have a location yet, which is fine. That's how a lot of people start, and I understand it. That's how I started too until I bought my actual lot that I own. But if that's a concern, maybe you want something a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer, because you only have a few spots, and those cars need to make higher revenue for it to make sense for you. I would say one of my favorites are Nissan Rogues. They rent out extremely well. They're not too big either. The Explorers with that third row, I don't personally like driving them, but if I was taking my family, it would be like the perfect vehicle for a long distance trip. I think there's even DVD players and stuff in them, which I guess most kids probably have like iPads and stuff now, so I don't think that's a feature that really matters as much as it used to, but looks cool. But mistakes to avoid with the SUVs, they go for a little bit more, so avoid overpaying for them at dealerships. And also, I'm in Pittsburgh, so I always get all-wheel drive models, but if you're in like Arizona, don't spend the extra money to get an all-wheel drive. It really doesn't make any sense. It's not gonna make your car rent out anymore. It's just, if you're in an area that gets snow, I do recommend them. So overall, I'm a big lover of the SUVs. My ratio, I would say for every 3 economy cars, like the smaller ones I get, whether it's a sedan or just like a compact one, I usually buy 1 SUV because they're more expensive. So I'm typically 3 to 1. And then if I notice the SUVs keep picking up, I might go more heavy towards them. But because of costs and just the ROI, looking at everything, that 3 to 1's been making sense for me at the moment, but that could change in the future and it could be different for your market. Now we're gonna get into my least favorite category, which maybe I'll like it here in the future, but trucks. Okay, let's talk about the benefits of trucks before I start bashing them. So trucks are great for contractors, movers, weekend doers, low competition in a lot of areas from what we've seen, and usually shorter trips though, because people tend to wanna use them for a job. So I've had a few different trucks. I've had just a few Rams pickup trucks. And here's what I'll say. They take up a lot of space, right? Because one, the huge pickup bed on them, which is fine. I mean, it's a truck. You're expecting it to take up space. But for what they made, at least in my area and then a few others, didn't really see the benefit. They were only renting for like $70 to $100 a day, which the Explorers can do more than that. And the problem I had, people in Pittsburgh were rough on these things. They were beating them up constantly, putting little nicks in them. And the problem was they were just beating them up enough that it didn't make sense to bring insurance into it. So I wish they would have destroyed them a little bit more so I could have at least got paid. But just with my clientele, there were more accidents in them. I think people were renting trucks that just weren't used to handling something that size. And then again, just like the abuse of them when they're taking them to jobs, how dirty they were left, and the cost of them, they're expensive. It didn't make sense, but it could make sense for your area. And I have worked with people that we have sourced cars with at carrentalcoach.com where trucks do a killing in their market. And I just made a video a few weeks ago. So I did buy a Ram 1500 ProMaster from auction. Not a pickup truck, but it's a cargo van. And I'm still gonna make a future update to see how that actually does on the platform. Right now, we're still getting it fixed. Had a few things wrong with it, but we're still looking to keep our investment in it under $13,000. So if that can do like the $150 a day, which it's supposed to in my area from looking at it, but guys, remember projections and what actually happens are always 2 different things. Sometimes they're close, sometimes they're not. I might sing a different tune and might really enjoy these cars, but we're gonna have to see here in the future, because right now, not the biggest truck guy, but if it works for your market, it works for your market. And then lastly, we're going to talk about luxury vehicles. So if you guys have watched anything on this channel before, you will understand that I am not a fan of the luxury market. I started out with BMW X5s and I started now with no BMW X5s. You wonder why that is? Well, it's because the luxury cars did not perform as well with the ROI. They were higher on maintenance, and people will love to speed when they see you have a nice car with an engine that can do a little bit of damage. I even have a client, you'll see a video with him, we did an interview together. Terry Secret, he's the owner of that, but he has some really nice Durangos, and they're like the most souped out versions with the best engines, and he's had to like put some messages in there, some restrictions on people driving them. So far so good, but he did have a few people trying to speed and hit like 150, so that's a no-go. But there are certain luxury cars I recommend. So like some base class Mercedes, like Mercedes C-Class, things like that. Depending on your market, they can do really well. As far as the nicer vehicles go though, I'm a big fan of like some of the even newer economy cars if I'm gonna spend that money. But Mercedes would be my favorite. I also drive a Mercedes-Benz, that's my personal car. But I have found them to be pretty good on maintenance, and I find them to depreciate far, far less than a lot of other vehicles in the same type of price range and class. So some of my best overall picks for beginners would be Toyota Corollas, Honda Civics, Hyundai Elantras, Kia Souls, and Chevrolet Malibus. And there's a lot of other ones depending on your area, and these picks could be completely different I'm giving you right now based on your actual zip code and your intentions and how you want to grow this business. Because Turo and the car rental business alike, they're not one size fits all. I've seen a lot of different ways to make money, so I won't go out there and say the way I'm doing it is the only way to make money. But I will say it's a great way to make money because I'm doing a lot better than most hosts I talk to and people in the space. But there are still some like niche markets where you can rent like retro cars, limousines, buses, classics. So There's a lot of different things going on in the industry, but right now, economy cars is where I see the future going, especially with ups and downs in the economy. We don't know what's ever going to happen in the future, and just like rental properties, economy cars are always a safe bet. And if you're still wondering what type of vehicles are going to work for your market, quit guessing, go to carrentalcoach.com, fill out our quick 60-second survey, and we'll work with you to help figure it out. All right, guys, see you in the next video, and please make sure to like and subscribe.